Let me get a little further from the... You're sounding clear, so...
Okay.
Switch over to this, and start broadcasting. Okay.
There's a lag in my phone.
There is.
Yeah, when I talk, it bounces back like half a second later.
Oh, that's no good. Well, just talk into the phone and... Oh, then you won't hear me. Crap. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, shoot. And last thing. Oh, this is a rough morning. Okay, and here we go.
Chronic Beats.
Good morning. You're listening to AVNewsCast.com. .com. Hey. So, Steve, it sounds like you're someplace else.
I'm out in the field, reporting from out in the field. It's 8:03, and it's August 11th, and it's the first day of school out here in the Antelope Valley, at least for high school students.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's kind of a madhouse here, too.
I'll tell you, an absolute nightmare around Quartz Hill High School.
Oh. What's
absolute nightmare. You got to, drop your kid off 8 miles away.
Oh. So it's... Tell me about where the backups and everything are in case there's somebody... Well, they should be there by now, shouldn't they, if they're going to...
There's no easy way to get there, okay? And there's no faster routes. The only thing I could tell people is just get there about a half an hour early.
Oh.
It is just a nightmare. And getting there was hard. I went through 1, 2, 3, 4 school zones before I got there.
Man. What if you crept up, by Lane Park? Took that way up and then by the Arco.
Okay. Try making a right turn at the Arco.
Oh.
Traffic is totally backed up.
It's a light there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And traffic is backed up with everybody that's heading...
so the light just turns green and everybody just shelters in place.
There's nowhere to go. When the light turns green, you can't make a right turn because traffic is totally backed up.
Oh.
Everybody trying to turn left into Quartz Hill High.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's just an absolute nightmare. That's all I could say.
Oh.
Just a nightmare. Hey, did you see what happened with Tony Stewart?
Yes, I did. I watched that video. What do you think? Now, I've watched that video. I hear he is considered kind of a jerk. In the world of racing.
He is. He can be a little bit of a dirty driver.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him get in fights. I've seen him walk out on the track. I've seen him throw his helmet at people.
Mm-hmm.
But this, I probably should reserve judgment, but I'm just going to say the way I kind of feel. And in watching the video and everything, it is. And this happened Saturday night in New York at a sprint car race, dirt track racing, and what you see is Tony Stewart racing, going around the track, and he's going side by side with this other driver who's 20 years old. His name is Kevin Ward.
And he's supposed to be a fairly decent up-and-comer rising star in that kind of field.
He is, and if Tony wasn't there, Kevin Ward would be, one of the top drivers there. And what Tony Stewart typically does is he shows up at one of these tracks to go sprint car racing, and now whoever is the top dog normally at that track is no longer the top dog because Tony Stewart's here. Mm-hmm. Okay, with his great car and all this stuff. And
so I can't imagine there's a lot of love lost between these two.
Yeah, and so they're racing around the track, and they're coming around the turn, and Tony is edging Kevin. He's cutting off his airspace, and he's edging him up the track
Right.
And Kevin had nowhere to go but hit the wall. So, but they're racing, and that's kind of what racing is all about,
Yeah, that happens.
Kevin could have backed off the gas. He could have gotten out of it, but, they were racing. So he hits the wall, and his car gets all banged up. And Kevin gets out of the car, and they yellow flag the race.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets out of the car and walks onto the racetrack. Which
that I just could not imagine. If that were me, I'd be trying to press my butt through the wall on the outside.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. This is like darting out on the freeway.
And he walks down on the track. And
without a highway patrolman to throw you down and beat you.
Yeah. And it looks like he's looking for somebody, and a car goes by him, and he sees, hey, that's not Tony Stewart, and it looked like he was looking for Tony Stewart, and then more cars are coming by, and granted, they've slowed down, and they're only going about 35 miles an hour, maybe 40. And it's dark, and Kevin Ward is dressed all in black. There's a car that's in front of Tony, and so I don't know if Tony Stewart had a good vision, at this point, but the car moves to avoid Kevin Ward, and Kevin moves way out to the middle of the track now.
Insanity.
And here comes Tony, and Tony hits him. And
now, they say there was the back end kind of fishtailed a little bit. Do you think... I don't know too much, but I always want to assume the worst. I'm thinking he wanted to start, rub his nose in it a little bit and scare him, make him jump, and did a little on the steering wheel, and kind of got out of control.
I kind of think the same way. I mean, Kevin, it's a tragedy. It was a big mistake for him to come out on the track. It kind of looks like Tony Stewart meant to spook him a little bit.
Yeah.
And he didn't try to move.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony hit him, and he flew.
Yeah, I'd rather look like a ninny and jump than get swatted by the back end of one of those things.
Yeah, and he flew, and it looked like he flew, 20, 30 feet.
Mm-hmm. It was a good hard smack.
He had his helmet on, he had his neck restraint on, but that only works when you're in a race car.
Right.
I heard that he broke his neck, and he was pronounced dead an hour later at the hospital.
Now, Tony Stewart is really supposed to be a hothead. I've heard that he's gone out after wrecking and walked out on the track as well during other races and thrown his helmet at cars.
He has, and I've seen him do that, and last year he went after Matt Kenseth, and said, I'm going to run you over. He is a hothead. He's got the nickname Smoke, and I don't know. Police in New York say it's not a criminal investigation, and I'm going to say yet.
That's what I'm hoping to hear. Yet.
I don't know. Every statement from Tony to the media is clearly vetted through his attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
He was expected to race yesterday, and his camp even announced Tony's going to be racing in yesterday's race at NASCAR, and it's business as usual. But then there was a lot of backlash.
Yeah. It's totally gone viral, that video.
Yeah. Yesterday morning, I looked at this guy's video, and when I looked at his video, it had had about 32,000 views. And an hour later, it had 150,000 views.
Wow.
Okay, and then at the end of the day, yesterday, it had 2.6 million views.
Holy cow.
The police are asking everyone to submit their videos so they can look at the videos. It did look like Tony maybe meant to spook him, but, I don't want to speak out of turn. But that's kind of how I feel.
That's the way it comes down to me. I mean,
but
I'm no traffic cop.
I don't know. You know, maybe Tony didn't see him until the last second. Sprint cars, you know, you steer them more with the gas than you do with the steering wheel.
Really?
Yeah, you do.
I don't know how these things operate.
They're meant to go sideways, and you know, Tony may have jumped on the gas at the last second because he just saw him trying to kick that thing out of the way. I don't know.
Well, you always like to give the benefit of the doubt. I'm always expecting the negative. And I'm so seldom disappointed, too. That's the thing.
It's a, you know, it's definitely, if something bad comes of this, and something it already did, because Kevin Ward is dead. I mean,
right,
you know.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, a family just lost their 20-year-old son. If something comes of this, you know, this is a real black eye for NASCAR. You know, in a year that's been going really well, and you know, you've got Dale Earnhardt Jr., who, you know, was just voted the most popular driver, and then you've got Danica Patrick, that's brought a lot of notoriety to NASCAR, and one bad thing like this.
I heard Dale Earnhardt Sr. was kind of a hothead, too, and a dirty guy.
Yeah, but everybody loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a hothead, but not so much, you know, well, yeah, okay, I will say, yeah, he was. But still my favorite driver.
Yeah.
But you know, that's when NASCAR was different. You know, and it was common, you know, yeah, people would wreck other people's cars, but they're not going to run them over.
Right.
Okay, that they're not going to do. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens here with this. You know, more will be coming, I'm sure.
Well, if he does go to prison, he should do okay, because all that cracker, white trash, and everything in the prison should love him to bits.
Well, this is his handlers. This is a bad thing, because he can, just like what happened to the Clippers with Donald Sterling. Sponsors will start to disappear.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're finished.
Yeah, you get a sniff of scandal, and they're out the door.
Yeah, then you have got a problem. And I think you're going to see something come in the next few days. You know, he didn't race yesterday. I think right now they've got major damage control.
Yeah, they're scrambling.
I wouldn't be surprised if people start publicly calling out and telling sponsors they need to ditch this guy.
Isn't he the one in the Mountain Dew commercials?
I don't remember if he's Mountain Dew or not, but I know he's Bass Pro Shops, and no, he's sponsored by Coca-Cola, I think.
Oh, okay.
Is it Mountain Dew?
I was wondering who, because there's some driver, you know, they show, I got there and somebody got the last Diet Dew, and this driver ends up trading his car for the Mountain Dew. I thought it was
you know, maybe, but, you know, his biggest sponsor is Chevrolet. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens.
He doesn't have a shining safety record. Maybe he's a good sponsor for him. Or a good promoter.
Yeah. Well, this is Angelina today.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's probably stuck somewhere. I don't know. So you and I covered a pretty cool event on Saturday. I
had a ball. That was great.
We were over at the grand opening of the Antelope Valley GOP Republican headquarters off of 15th Street East. A lot of people were there. In fact, it was pretty packed.
Yeah.
You know, right after we left, you know, Steve Knight showed up right after we left.
Oh.
He was opening his own campaign headquarters in Simi Valley.
Yeah, where he's less known.
Yeah, and you know, so he had to get that up to speed, and you know, unfortunately, we had just missed him. But Tom Lackey was there. Pete Peterson was there, who was running for Secretary of State. George Rowe was there.
Yep.
Used to be the Antelope Valley prosecutor, John Morris. You know,
well, he's a good speaker. They're all good speakers.
Everybody talk. Yeah. And you know, one of the good things, and I think it was George Runner that said, you know, this is not about, things have changed. You know, California is now almost 20% independent.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And, you know, clearly it's in close races, it's the independents that are going to, you know, push somebody over the top.
Mm-hmm.
But he made a really good point in that it's no longer about being Republican or being a Democrat. It's now just about the issues.
Right.
You got to just focus and talk to the issues.
Right.
But it was great, and Jeff's going to put a video up if anybody wants to watch it.
It is. It's up there. I'm going to share it out on Facebook as soon as the show is over.
Yeah.
Yep. But it is up on YouTube.
Yeah, and people get to listen to all the candidates. You know, somebody made a comment. I think it was Jeff Moffitt said, "Hey, Tony Strickland wasn't there."
Yeah, I saw that.
You know. But I you know, he is not you know, part of the Antelope Valley GOP team.
Mm-hmm.
But I think an invite was put out to him.
Right.
And it wasn't accepted.
Huh.
But you know, this is, you know,
do you not want to be in the same room as Knight, or
Steve Knight territory?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen much of Tony Strickland since he announced his candidacy up here.
Mm-mm.
I ran into him at a Deadhawks game. That was it.
Wow.
Beyond that, I haven't seen much.
Yeah. You got to get out there and meet the constituency.
Yeah. So, you know,
we're not doing himself a service here.
And we'll get Steve Knight on the show, and we'll get Tom Lackey on the show, and everybody else that's running. And I know Steve Fox has even hit me up and wants to come on the show. So, you know, we'll give every candidate exposure, because that's what we're all about.
See, we're so good that even when we're not bound by the FCC rules, we still try to make sure that everybody gets their say and gets a voice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what you know. That's what community radio is all about.
That's right.
And we've got a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we've got to let every candidate, you know, have their opportunity on the dais and talk to the candidates.
Not that I'm bitter or anything.
No, no, not at all. Hey, did you see what went on in Missouri with that 18-year-old unarmed black guy by the name of Michael Brown?
That's why I was hoping Angie would be here.
They started rioting.
Yeah.
Now, as I understand it, the way witnesses described what happened was Michael Brown was with somebody else. Police pulled up to a store. There was a scuffle between not Michael Brown, but another guy and one of the police officers.
He's actually pushed back into his cruiser.
And there was another police officer in the car.
Mm-hmm.
The police officer that was in the car is the one who fired the shots.
Did he fire past his partner?
I don't know. One witness says that Michael Brown had his hands up.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Okay? He was completely unarmed.
See, I was hoping to hear that he brandished a weapon or something, that there was some logical reason for this.
No. None. And the people in the town of Ferguson are beyond upset.
Yeah.
They started rioting the stores, which I don't get that.
Don't loot.
You know, you can be upset, but I don't understand why you start looting.
Yeah.
What does that do?
Just hurt your community. It does nothing positive. Go stand out in front of the police station and scream. Don't hurt the poor independent businessman. It has nothing to do with anything.
This is where social media really serves a purpose, because years ago we wouldn't have known what was going on, and if we did, we would only get the media's perspective.
But now it also serves to fire. Well, you can incite something using social media a lot easier than you don't have to sit and call on a phone tree and get people out there to go turn cars over.
Yeah, no, I know. And what's interesting about this is that the officer's dash cam didn't capture anything.
Oh, isn't that amazing?
Okay, and the officers are also wearing cameras on their body. Mm-hmm. But they were not active. Okay, they haven't gotten that technology up to speed yet. So they have them, they're in possession of them, but apparently there is no footage whatsoever.
You can get idiot skateboard kids with a GoPro. They don't miss a thing.
Well, look, we saw, who was that? It was the head of the GOP for L.A. County that we met on Saturday, and he had his 2-year-old son with him.
Yep.
Who could navigate through his iPhone. Something fierce.
The 2-year-old, he was updating his Twitter.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So I don't know why the police department can't get it up to speed, but the Ferguson police chief, Tom Jackson, said yesterday that he's perplexed. They're still trying to sort out what happened. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have any explanation. They're still interviewing the officer that fired the weapon. They don't know why he fired the weapon as of last night.
I'm still trying to figure out what the initial reason for contact between the officers and those two were.
I don't know.
Nothing's been real clear on that.
I don't know. That I don't know either. But people are clearly upset enough that because they feel that there was no reason whatsoever for Michael Brown to be shot.
Yeah, he's standing there with his hands up. That's senseless.
So, and they were protesting last night right in front of the police department. Mm-hmm. Hundreds and hundreds of people with their hands up in the air, chanting, "Don't shoot me." I can get that kind of protest.
Amen.
I understand the community is upset, but then to go to stores,
that just
even involved, and start looting them, I don't get that part at all.
And then you lose any kind of credibility and the goodwill by doing that kind of nonsense.
You do. You absolutely do. Now, I want to talk about the woman that was beaten by the highway patrolman, Marlene Pinnock. Now,
it's a shame that highway patrolman wasn't out there on the racetrack. He could have knocked some sense into Kevin.
Yeah. Now she says that she believes that the highway patrolman. She says, "I think he was trying to kill me." She's been homeless for about 5 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. Her family, of course, is rallying around her.
Right.
She says he was trying to tear all her clothes off.
Tear all her clothes?
She wants the officer fired.
Is there evidence of that in the video?
Pardon me?
Is there evidence of that in the video? Is he popping buttons and... I just saw slugging.
No, but there's clear evidence of him hitting her 10 or 15 times.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Highway Patrol hasn't named the officer, although in their lawsuits, Pinnock's attorneys did. Mm-hmm. They named him as Daniel Andrew. Mm-hmm. This is an interesting thing because, if you remember, Highway Patrol served a subpoena on the hospital that she was in. Mm-hmm. And she was there because she has mental issues and she was being confined. Mm-hmm. And evaluated and observed. Mm-hmm. And Highway Patrol served a subpoena to get her medical records. Mm-hmm. Which in and of itself, that happening so fast, within 2 days, and going after her medical records, that's a bit unusual.
They got to cover their tracks. They
got to do something. Yeah. This is a real. you've got what happened in Missouri, and then you've got this over here in California. Yeah, this is a real problem.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
yeah, I know.
But how much of a grain of salt do you have to take what she has to say with the history of mental illness?
Well, you know, I get that.
You know, you got paranoid schizophrenics that, you know, they're saying ladybugs are out to kill them.
Okay, and I get that, but there's nothing in the video that shows, in the video that I've seen, that shows that she did anything to warrant him hitting her 10 to 15 times.
Right.
If you wanted to keep her out of traffic because she was going to get run over, I can almost get, you know, tackling her.
Yeah.
Okay?
And just lay on her.
But then go, you know, MMA on her. I don't get that.
Yeah.
That there's no excuse for.
Right.
You know, so I don't know. I'll tell you, reporting from out in the field, Jeff, is far different than being in a studio with you.
Yeah? Tell me about it.
It's a whole different feeling. It's a whole different feeling. Did you see the story about the 53-year-old Lancaster guy who was beating up and abusing his dog?
Yes.
Did you see the video?
That was a terrible video. Yeah. That's hard to watch.
Yeah, he's still in jail, being held on $20,000 bail. I don't know, you know, what could have caused this guy. His name is Robert Martin. He's 53 years old, lives in Lancaster. You see him yanking the dog by the leash, and you see him taking the dog and slamming the dog on the ground.
Yeah.
I understand the dog was not injured. But clearly, you know, that's cruelty to animals.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. There's nothing that dog could have done worth that. But
no, because the dog was like Miss Pinnock on the freeway.
Yeah.
Okay?
But watch, I bet there's more outrage over this than there was Gabriel. There's a segment of society that takes animal welfare way above human welfare. Like I've said it before, I know people that if a puppy and a baby fell out of a burning building at the same time, there's no doubt in my mind that they would jump for the puppy.
That's not a good thing.
No, but it's out.
That person's very messed up.
Yeah, I know a few people like that.
What I did like was the fact that you know, what Robert Martin was doing was captured on videotape, and the guy that captured it, his name is Lindsey Cooks. He called 911, and sheriff rolled right up quickly.
And then, from what I understand, he started screaming racial epithets when the cameraman, told him to stop.
Yeah, I didn't hear what he was saying, but I know that Cooks said he was.
Right.
I didn't hear it in the video. Did you?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either. But sheriff deputies rolled up, Cooks showed them the video, and they just went and grabbed the guy.
Good.
And then Cooks got video of him being arrested and threw that up on YouTube too.
Nice.
Okay, which I thought was good. And then also in Lancaster, early Sunday morning, and this is about 1 o'clock in the morning. The guy was shot to death out on 30th Street East in Lancaster, the 47,000 block, about 1:45 in the morning. They had no suspects. The guy was in a driveway, suffering from a gunshot wound to his upper torso, and died.
He was out in front of his house? Is it a driveway?
I don't know if it was his house or what the deal was. I don't know. Terrible stuff that we got going on up here. This is crazy.
This is bad.
Crazy stuff. Then late yesterday at 8 o'clock in Rancho Palos Verdes, people on their way back from Catalina in a 17-foot boat. That's the first mistake. Okay? And they left Avalon around 8 o'clock last night.
Okay.
That's a second mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Coming back from... I've done it when I used to sail, when I had my boat.
Right.
Coming back from Catalina in a small boat is no fun, especially at night.
Oh, there's a lot of chop out there.
Yeah. And you know, mine was a 30-foot Newport. Mine was a racing boat, but it was no fun, even in 30 feet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's no fun, and it can be really dangerous. A 17-foot boat with 3 people on it, I'm not making that trip unless it's during the day.
Absolutely.
But a male passenger called 911 from the boat about 10 o'clock saying the boat was disabled.
Oh.
And they didn't have any flares, and the radio wasn't working.
Oh.
Now, I coming back from my bachelor party, actually, was on my boat. And our plan was to go to Catalina, stay the night, and then come back the next day. But when we got to Catalina, we couldn't tie the boat up anywhere. It was all packed.
Wow.
So we had to turn around and come back. Coming back, we lost our engine, and this was a sailboat, but of course I had a diesel engine on there too. Lost the engine, and there was no wind.
Oh.
Okay? So we're dead stopped. On top of that, we lost our batteries and had no radio.
Oh.
And we're in the shipping lanes.
Oh.
Yeah, but at least it was daytime.
Yeah.
And we made it back about 8 o'clock at night, middle of summer before it got too dark. These guys in a 17-foot boat coming back, that's just not good.
No.
And, you know, these big tankers and freighters that are out there, they can't see you. Okay, and when it gets pitch black and you've got no running lights on, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, it's not like those things can turn on a dime either.
Yeah.
Oh.
Police went to their residence late last night and made a welfare check on all 3 people, 2 females and 1 male that were supposed to be on the boat. There was no one home. Coast Guard immediately went out. They haven't been able to find them.
No.
Not at all. Interesting story out of Bellingham, Washington. Isn't that where Microsoft is?
Right near there, yeah. It's in Redmond. They're in Redmond.
This guy by the name of Dustin Frederick Brown was at a bar.
3 names, you know he's trouble.
3 names, always trouble. That's kind of true, too. The guy's at a bar, and he starts texting friends saying, I'm drunk. Somebody come over here and help me out and drive my car.
And when he arrived at the bar, he's already he's already ripped.
Oh, is that for real?
No, that's why I'm asking. You say he arrived at the bar and then he started texting.
No, he had been at the bar for a little while. Okay. Drinking down beers, one after another. Starts, you know, tweeting out around 9:30 at night. I think he arrived at the bar around 6, and around 9:30 at night, he's, you know, starts sending out text messages, and he's saying, you know, does anybody want to volunteer to come pick me up? Anybody want to drive my car?
Sounds like he was trying to be responsible.
Yeah, and he has no takers. So he ends up getting in his car, driving down the street, and as he's driving down the street, he hits 4 pedestrians, one of which, a 37-year-old man, was killed. Then he continues, after hitting them, hitting parked cars and moving cars, until his car comes to rest after going over a barrier and almost plunging down a 10-foot drop. A chain link fence caught him. They
don't have taxi cabs in Bellingham?
I I don't know. Needless to say, though, okay, police come. They arrest him. His breathalyzer test was 3 times over the legal limit. They take him to the police department and ask him what happened. And his explanation is he has no idea. All of a sudden, the truck became possessed.
Ooh.
It was under its own free will.
Ooh.
He was along for a ride that was an absolute nightmare.
Ooh. It was like Christine.
His foot was not on the gas pedal.
That's a Stephen King novel.
Steering by itself. Steering by itself.
Well, shoot, that makes sense to me.
That's the way that that's his story. He's sticking to it.
Was it a GM car?
No. It was a souped-up Ford F-350.
Oh, ooh, you could do a lot of damage with one of those.
Yeah, big diesel.
Ooh.
So now he says it's possessed. So the court up in Washington has now had to hire experts.
Oh no.
Mechanics.
Priests.
To evaluate and take the truck apart to try to figure out what would make this happen.
You gonna pour holy water on it? A drunk guy, that's what would make that happen.
Yeah, and you know, he says he only had 1 beer.
Does he have the body mass of a 2-year-old?
Pardon me?
Does he have the body mass of a 2-year-old to blow that kind of, 3 times over the limit?
No, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's a big guy. He's still being held on a $500,000 bail. His public defender says that this incident haunts him every day. He's afraid to drive now because he's afraid that every car he gets in will be possessed.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah, and he's going with that story.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Well, I hope he stays afraid of cars after he gets out of prison and everything.
Yeah, after he gets out of prison. Yeah, I know.
Demons.
You know, with what's been going on in a lot of the California colleges and a lot of women complaining of rape and sexual assault.
I heard a little something about that, yeah. What's happening there?
You know, we know that no means no.
Right.
Well, now because the universities are coming under a lot of scrutiny, okay, as to what are they going to do. Now California is looking at a new law that yes means yes. Okay? And as universities around the country are facing more pressure over handling of rape allegations, now people are asking for the universities to define exactly what consensual sex is.
Wow.
Because they don't want to be sued anymore. They don't want the lawsuits.
I say we open up a chain of notary companies on college campuses. So that way when they actually, when it gets down to the point where they have to come in with a form, we can capitalize on that.
Yeah, well,
right?
Now, yeah. Now, legislation passed recently in the California Senate in May, and is now coming in front of the Assembly, would require all schools that receive public funds for student financial assistance to set a so-called affirmative consent standard that can be used in investigating and adjudicating sexual assault allegations.
How do they? I don't get it. How are they gonna? They're gonna have to do a form. There's gonna have to be a nookie release.
Well, basically, that's what they're looking at trying to come up with. Okay, is because you get this he said she said,
right?
And so now they have to come up with something clearly defined. Okay, that would dictate what is consensual.
Huh. Why don't you just hit the books?
They and the schools are looking for this as well. That they want something affirmative, unambiguous, and a very conscious decision, okay, as to what is consensual sex.
Well, the bulk of it happens when they're drunk out of their minds anyway, so how do you get a... I mean, I think of college, I think of drunken debauchery.
Well, some of them, not all. Not all of them. But, well, we know that UCLA, USC has had a huge problem. A huge problem with this. And universities, colleges across the country have failed to investigate. There was a recent story of a girl who had, and this was just a week ago in San Diego, at San Diego State, and she had this guy stalking her, and she, although it doesn't have to do with rape, but you don't know, because she had this guy stalking her, and she had complained to the university, and they hadn't done anything about it. She went back to the university, and she wanted to know if she can carry her gun on campus.
Sounds fair to me.
And they said no. She noticed this guy one afternoon following her again. She called 911. University police rolled up, as well as San Diego PD rolled up, and they grabbed the guy. In the backpack that he had, and he's following this girl. Right. In the backpack was rope made into a noose.
Oh dear.
Duct tape.
Oh.
Braided wire, rubber gloves, and a knife.
Well, that's the serial killer starter kit.
It is, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay? Universities are, people are complaining that it's not safe. Look what happened at USC just 2 weeks ago with the guy that was killed, a Chinese exchange student. Hit in the head for no reason, and now, now USC, and this is not the first time.
Right.
Now they're starting, to react, and they're putting things in place to try to make it safer for people.
Oh yeah, we're great at reaction. No proactive measures.
You know what I heard the other day was, you know how much money USC has? Physically in the bank, cash on hand. $3.5 billion.
You look at these tuitions go sky high, just to the point where they're pricing themselves out of, feasibility. Where does this money go? If not to, at the very least, keep these children that these parents entrust with them safe. That should be, the classes, and that should be the top priority.
It should be, and you heard the spokesperson for the family of the boy who was killed, that if you don't make this safer, we're not going to send our kids to your university.
Right. Nor should
they. Don't hear that at $50,000 a year. Okay? That they don't want. So now they're finally starting to react. And make it safer. They're putting up more cameras. They're hiring more guards.
You're entrusting your children to them.
Yeah, I get that. Well, USC is not in the best of neighborhoods.
Ooh, no.
Okay?
No.
That in and of itself, in not a good area of town and one of the most expensive universities in the country. Yeah, I know. There's a lot going on. One thing I wanted to touch on was the California Voting Rights Act. Now, we all know what's been going on here in the Antelope Valley with Lancaster's Mayor R.X. Paris acting as an attorney with Shakeman and filing a lawsuit against the city of Palmdale, and right now that's up at appeal, and and Palmdale has asked the state Supreme Court to get involved, take a look at this, and they feel really confident. But up in Sacramento, there's another twist because now minorities are starting to look at the districts itself. And now they're saying maybe the districts in some of these cities where the district maps have been drawn need to get redrawn.
Some more gerrymandering,
to allow for more minorities to get involved. You know, this is probably going to get me in trouble, but I got to just talk to this for a minute because I'm not real fond of districting.
Right.
Because I don't get it.
No, I've never seen any kind of active policy on keeping anybody from running in an election based on their skin tone. I haven't seen that. If there's apathy out there, or whatever the reason is, I haven't seen it. You know, the reason doesn't appear to me, at least, to be some active measure to keep people of color from running.
You know, if you've got 5 or 6 seats on a city council, to me, a general election vote allows you to put the best 5 within that city up there. And you can draw from this vast pool of people, okay? And you've got an opportunity not to just get one, but to put your best 5 or 6 up there.
Right.
When it comes to districting, you've got a smaller pool of people that may not have experience. And someone from that district is going to be running the city.
And if anything, it limits your choice.
It vastly limits your choice.
So it's not doing anybody any favors. At least the population. Now there's somebody you want to vote for, but you can't because you're in the wrong district. Somebody that you know in your heart would take care of what needs you have and what as far as the government can do that, and you're not allowed to.
See, now, I get why, like LA County Board of Supervisors, okay? Because LA County is so large.
Yeah, it's vast.
Okay? I totally get that.
Right.
I understand how it works. I understand its purpose, and that makes sense to me. But when you talk about cities as small as Palmdale and or Lancaster, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Not a lick.
Okay? Or Santa Clarita, and I could go on and on. That doesn't make any sense to me because it's not large enough, one, to warrant it, and two, it was something that was on the ballot back in, I think, 2009. And the voters voted it down.
Right.
And didn't want it.
It's a solution looking for a problem.
Well, now what's happening, though, is up in Sacramento, now people are now saying that, hey, in areas that have gone to districting, there aren't enough minorities. So we need to take a look at the maps, and we need to redraw them. Because we need more minorities so that we can increase the number of seats on the elected body to ensure that minority voters are treated equally. Now, question. In areas where there's a larger Latino population and a white population, let's say, as an example, okay? Don't they already have the advantage?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's a matter of finding somebody that wants to get up there and do the job. And redrawing all the maps in the world isn't going to, change that issue. I think if you had more minority people running for these positions that were qualified, then what would be the issue? You vote with your pocketbook and you're concerned for your family. And I don't think it matters what color they are. If you think they're going to take care of the needs that you have, you're going to vote for them. At least that's the way I am.
I agree. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. But now up in Sacramento, and this is being pushed by Alex Padilla.
Mm-hmm.
People need to look at the maps themselves now, and maybe redraw them.
Well, there's a $16 million study.
To allow for that. Hey, I heard somebody that had their car buried at UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
We had been told by LADWP that it could be a 3 to 6 month process.
Right.
I heard yesterday that somebody that had their car buried had already gotten their money. Okay, and it wasn't from their insurance company.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So maybe that process is going a lot faster than we thought.
Oh, I should hope so. That'd be nice.
Huh. There was another pit bull attack in Indio Saturday night. An 11-year-old boy and a 5-year-old boy were waiting for a friend outside of his house. In Indio, a 4-year-old dog broke free and began to maul the 5-year-old boy. His head was bitten all over. The 11-year-old was bit in the stomach and on his hands. The pit bull owner surrendered the dog to Riverside County Animal Control for euthanasia. Those are dogs. I don't like those dogs.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's your opinion on that? Are they? I mean, you see all these pit bull lovers say, "Oh, they're the most wonderful things. I let them babysit my 2-year-old."
I knew someone that was a close friend that had one, and I didn't like the dog. The dog scared me, but never did anything to me.
Right.
I just didn't like being around the dog because the dog's favorite chew toy was cement dirt clods.
Oh.
And he would throw them around the horse corrals. The cement, and the dog would go get these cement dirt clods, and then bring them back to him, and then bite them into little bits.
Oh.
Okay, and any dog that's biting, cement is not going to be my friend.
Yeah, I'll take my Shih Tzus and Chihuahuas.
That didn't work. I don't. Yeah, I think some of the laws and regulations that they have. Lancaster's got a deal on pit bulls.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of the ordinances that they have are just, because I think those dogs are only bred for one reason.
Can it be that every single owner is just nuts and training them to be vicious, or is there the possibility that they're just not quite right in the head, that there's wires that aren't, connected?
I have a guy, a very friendly guy, that walks his pit bull by our house every night, and his pit bull seems well behaved, and this guy walks him by, and I don't really have a problem with his, but it's some of these other ones that I don't know, that I've got a problem with. Hey, one thing, I know we've only got a minute or two left in the show, but one thing I wanted to mention is tomorrow is your first day, Jeff.
Yes.
Back at school.
Yes, it is.
Teaching media and broadcasting.
I'm so excited.
For the second year at Guidance Charter High School.
Chomping at the bit.
And I think that's a very, very cool thing. And I know that every student now, K through 12, at both campuses now, is going to have a tablet.
Yes. Very nice. I've had a few days to play with it. And, man, it's a slick situation. I mean, you go in, the kids come in, they scan a QR code, and automatically all their homework will come to me, and their assignment for the day will then be loaded into, just no effort whatsoever, loaded into their tablet. They're not lugging, 75-pound backpacks around. All their textbooks are there. They're accessible wherever they are. Not that I'm a huge environmentalist, but look at all the paper savings. It's wonderful. My kids are so jealous.
Well, I think what's really cool, because we know that the media pathway is hugely popular at the high school.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our second year, but I think what's really cool is that you were shopping in Costco over the weekend.
Uh-huh.
And a lady came up to you, okay, recognized you
mm-hmm.
as a teacher, and said, "I'm fighting to get my child in your class."
Right.
That's how popular the class is.
That made me feel pretty good.
I think that's very, very cool.
Ah.
Very, very cool. Well, have a great... Tomorrow is your first day.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Have a great first day. I'll be talking to you later on, though. But
mm-hmm.
I think that's very cool. Are you ready?
I'm all set.
You all set?
I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go. Classroom's all cool?
It's good.
Okay.
All right. It's not that I brought my light blocker in, but I haven't put that up yet. But everything else is ready to roll.
All right. We're going to have Wendy Bozigian on the show.
Man, I'm so excited about that.
And maybe we'll reach out to Sandy Smith, because she's the director, and
mm-hmm.
maybe we'll get her on the show too this week too.
I love me some Sandy Smith.
Pardon me?
I love me some Sandy Smith.
Yeah, she's a very nice person.
But
the fair opens at the end of the week. We're only a week away.
We got to work on it. I'm wanting to broadcast opening day from the fairgrounds. I'm desperately wanting to do that. And the family's going to Arizona and leaving me behind, so
really,
I could stay out there all night.
Wow, okay. Well, we know how we can do this, so
mm-hmm.
we'll try to figure this out, okay?
That's something I desperately wish to do.
Yeah, well, we'll try to do that. All right, we're out of time.
Yes, we are.
All right, so I want to thank everybody for listening to AV Newscast, making us the #1 news talk radio program in the Antelope Valley. Have a great day, and we'll be back tomorrow at 8 a.m.
Beautiful. Have a good one, Steve.
You too.